I want to have a small rant about the Tanky, the communists, the group of people that made the left lose. And you could say, well, aren't you not left leaning? No, I'm not left leaning, but I can understand that feeling on both sides of the political spectrum. And that comes to with the far right, they have, the Funny Mustache Party group, the people that openly support the Funny Mustache Men. This is the left version of that, and we call them Tankies. The term Tanky was from the 50s in Britain that supported Stalin and Russia and USSR and all that. And today's Tankies are basically people who openly hate everything that comes to the West. They are open about it. They are kind of they would support the right if it hurts the more moderate left-wing people. And partially the reason why you see so many people turn to the right and the reason why like Trump won was because Tankies. They're the ones that kind of push the feminist ideology onto the left, the radical feminist ideology. They're the reason why people see left-wing people as crazy because of the Tankies. Anytime you hear anything radical, if it comes to left-leaning people or people who do swatting, disinformation campaigns or anything like that, it's always coming from the Tanky. The Tanky is what you get when you have someone that's perfect for propaganda. If you're a right-leaning person, you can point the Tanky and say, this is all the left. And that's the problem with the Tanky. And the problem with like the more rational left, they refuse to push on them because the left is too nice. Dylan Burns, a prominent journalist who is in Ukraine trying to report upon the news of what's going on with war crimes that Russia's doing and what's going on with Ukraine at the moment, openly got doxxed by Tankies, and he excuses the behaviors of the Tankies. I even put in the comment section in the video saying that this is why the right always wins. You let the Tankies run you over, and the only people who get the most attention is the Tankies. Look at Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker's the one that openly doxed Dylan Burns. He won't say he doxed him, but he did. He's trying to get his family swatted. So that's just a fact. I know some people would disagree, like, no, that's not true. Yeah, he's trying to get Dylan Burns' family swatted. This needs to stop. The left needs to adopt certain things to be able to be in the good graces of men and European men, but you don't want to do it. You don't want to promote the identity of European men and also just Europeans in general. You say you have principles of right to self-determination when it comes like Ukraine and just people, any group of people like including Palestine, but you won't try to weed out the Tanky. You refuse to do this. And this is why the right has been winning so much these last few years, because you won't weed out the Tanky. The Tanky is why young men go for right-wing people, because you won't weed this out. Because the Tanky is why you see so many radical feminists. The Tanky is why you see so many people who just blame capitalism, knowing that it's not capitalism, but just greedy people in general. It could be any ideology. And can you even say we are, in the, like if you say the States or European Union, are we in a market-only capitalist system? No. You could say it's more of a mixed model economy. It's more on the capitalistic side, but you don't see small businesses, you don't see growth. You have to have regulation for everything in like all the Western countries. But the communists, just like with the right-wing people who blame nothing but the small hats, the Jewish people, they blame those people. The communists blames the rich. It's the same thing. They want to have a scapegoat, and they want to put in a radical ideology. They will try to deny war crimes. They will be unprincipled about certain things if it goes against the West. Both the far-right people go against the West, and the Tankies go against the West. And the fact is, the West is the few places that has some form of democracy or freedom. That's just a fact. There's no greener hill on the other side with the non-Western countries. They are all scum. They are inferior compared to the West. We made something that other countries and nations and continents have never seen, and they benefit from us. But the Tanky wants to destroy that. And the rest of the left needs to weed out these people. If not, you're going to keep seeing more and more far-right people win. But will the left learn? No. And when if it comes to the States, 2026 will come and they'll be thinking, well, Trump has done so bad. But the problem is, even with that, the Tankies are muddying up the waters and just making the rest of the left look bad. And the people who are sane, like Dylan Burns, needs to openly call out the Tankies. He needs to say, why did you try to dox my family? Why are you friends with Bad Infanella, a dude that is a predator to kids and will openly swat people? If you don't do this, you will see 2026 will still have Republicans, and even without Trump, you will still see a conservative win yet again. You need to stop these people. You need to stop being anti-European. You need to stop being anti-male. You need to weed out the radical feminist groups who are causing nothing but trouble, and it's alienating men, and the anti-European people who alienate Europeans of the diaspora. If you don't do this, you will keep losing. And you will keep complaining and saying, why are we keep losing? Because you keep supporting these tankies inadvertently by not trying to push them out. You need to push them out. You need to be hostile to these people. If they want to be violent towards you, you have to do the same. You have to defend yourself because they are taking over. Hassan is like one of the most popular person on Twitch. He is an open tanky. He doesn't care about Ukraine. The only reason why he supports Palestine and all that is because he hates the West. He is open about that. He wants communism. Communism doesn't work. It's a failed ideology, just like the far-right movement. It's a failed ideology. And the same thing with the far-right people. They don't like the West either. Why do you think they support Russia and China? These people need to be weeded out. And if you don't do that, you are going to keep losing. But will anyone listen to someone like me or others? No, the left will be too nice. The right has a problem with being too complacent. They will fight each other, but at the end of the day, the right will always have the far-right people who wins because the center-right is too cowardly to call out practical issues. Kind of the same thing with the practical left. But if they want to have normal people and not have these radicals and which would scare off the average person, you have to call out the tankies. If you're on the left leaning and you want moderates, you want somebody who's rational, kick out the tankies, kick out the radical feminists, kick out the anti-Western people who don't like people just because they have a pale complexion in them. Don't accept third worldists. A third worldist can be left or right, but tankies are left-wing version. A far-right, funny mustache man supporter is a third worldist in a right-leaning perspective. I would say this to the far-right as well. You need to kick them out too, but the center-right, it's far worse than center-left at this point. They don't have any principles. The left is starting to get principles. Ever since the war in Ukraine, they've been having principles about Europeans having a right to self-determination when it comes to Ukraine. You need to push down on it because you're going to get more people to support you if you do that. But kick out the tanky. They are not needed.